the thing that I shared with Mr. Lampley and her husband, I shared it with her husband yesterday. The thing that made the most impact to me is when you guys talked about that number. And that number, and this is what I'm going to always refer, this is going to be my little catch thing to get people to really, either or get off the pot and stuff, is you multiply your rent times 12 times how many years you've been staying there, and you see how much money you done paid to somebody else that's getting rich or their financial security and everything. And if that doesn't shock you, then nothing else will and stuff, So I always, when I tell people about it, whatever, I don't give them none of the nuts and bolts. I just say the number. And once they see that number, then it's like, okay, when can I come and stuff, So that's my little hook, or what I use to do it. And then, like you said,
it was just that he was riding home. You know what he said? That number. You gotta go, Ma. I'm gonna sleep. You gotta go.
So, and that's the thing that, made the biggest impression upon me and stuff, that little bit right there. I mean, all the others good information, but when you find something that really makes you move to action, then that's something that's really, really impressive and stuff, and we sit around and procrastinate about, oh yeah, it's not no big deal, and we get comfortable and everything, and before you know it, we had a real big number and stuff, so.
And now, how long did it take from the first time you talked to us to actually get?
I don't know, it was a couple of months. It was a couple of months before, and what happened was they had the sign out here, and I think I had called, and then
you had called on the other property
initially.
Yeah, but I saw this one too, and then the sign got knocked down, and I thought I missed out because I had procrastinated and everything else and stuff. I think I told Michelle about it, and then I saw the sign up again. And I wanted to go take the sign out and say, okay, but nobody else could do it and stuff, And that's when the second time around, that's when, we went full board and got it done and started with them and everything, and haven't looked back since and stuff. So, if.
Because I think I was the skeptical one. Because I was like, it sounds too good to be true. And sure enough, the way they teach you how to go through the steps, and if you just do it exactly like they tell you to, it all falls in place. It really does. It wasn't anything that I regretted at all.
And the biggest thing too, right? You think you're really, I think when we first sat down with Sean and started signing the paperwork, he said 6 months and put some skin in the game and everything, right? And I know Michelle was like, when is it gonna? I'm like, babe, we only been doing it for like a month and a half and stuff, so. It hasn't been that long and stuff, but when you get really excited and you see that the change is about to take effect and stuff, you become anxious too and stuff, but be patient, plug along, get the steps done right, and do it right the first time, you'll be okay.
And like Matthew said, well, one thing that the problem that we had was we did not have any credit. Because I was paying things with cash, and so it had been a long lapse of a credit history I hadn't even thought about. So therefore they had to build up my credit. And once they established me a couple of credit lines, what was it, not even a month later? Maybe
about 45 days. Yeah.
Once that credit line had been established, then 45 days we actually owned the place. So it was rather
So
quick.
talk about, what was the biggest thing you were skeptical about?
The biggest thing that I was skeptical about, number one, is the actual process actually working. And it sounded too good to be true because I'm like, I was thinking we had to bring at least 20% of the home costs to the table. And when I was told that that is not the case, I really got excited then. I'm like, okay, well, this is for me, right? I can keep the money that I have in my pocket, plus be a homeowner, that was what I wanted to do. And then now, as a result of seeing how we're able to save, now I'm in the process of thinking about my second property. And Matthew and I are going to get together next week and start working on that. So I'm told so many people, and now they're starting to think the same way. It's like, I never thought about it like that. It's like home ownership, property owner, this is the road to success, not just working a 9 to 5. So it definitely is very empowering.
Right.
I'm very grateful for it. Thank you again.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it always helps for people to hear from your perspective, because obviously we've been doing this for so long. It's like second nature to us. We get up in our sleep and just be like, man, I'm gonna help somebody buy a house today. But then you go out there and you talk to someone, they're so beat up and ran over by this economy and all the news and the media. I mean, you'll even hear people like Donald Trump say, hey, interest rates are the best they've ever been, home prices are the best they've ever been, but the banks don't want to lend you money. So when you hear that from someone that's the billionaire, you're like, okay, why should I even try? So our job as a company is really to create the hope and give you the inspiration through the stories that we create. And so what I like most is to find the people that want to get in there and fight. Let's go in here and break the statistics and create some new ones. So again, I'm not by any means promising that this is going to be easy process, but if you're willing to put up the work, you realize how much money you've already paid towards someone else's mortgage. I think if you can work that hard for someone else's mortgage, isn't it about time that you can do the same thing for yourself?
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of what we want to do. So
Now, I do have one question I thought of. I'm sorry to cut you off. So you have properties that you have like listings on that are available for the program, or how does that?
well,
Once you sit down with the people, how do you go about getting that?
It's two different ways. I mean, we obviously have access to any home that's already on the market, so you got that already built in.
Okay.
But in addition to that, we also have our own network of private investors that we can have access to homes that before they even hit the market. The benefits there is, one, you don't have all the competition.
Right.
Because also, another new thing is that the real estate market is starting to pick up. So prices are starting, have already kind of bottomed out, and they are starting to go back up. So you want to basically make sure you're not in a position where you're trying to compete on a property if you find one. So. And then in the third type program, which is somewhat of a exception. In some cases,